This tutorial will give an overview of the dispatch board. To access the dispatch board, click the dispatch icon in the menu on the left-hand side of the screen. The dispatch board is broken out into three sections, which are referred to as the schedule or main section, the unassigned column, and the bottom section, which can be toggled between a map and a list of calls in various statuses. The main section shows you the schedule for each technician. The technicians will be displayed on the left, and the top will display the time frame. You can use the slider at the bottom of the main section to scroll the times left or right, and you can use the slider to the right of the main section to scroll the list of technicians up or down. Within the main section, you will see what calls are scheduled or dispatched for the particular day. Each of the cards you see in the main section is a schedule or dispatch record for the particular work order, which is often referred to as a visit. Each card displays the dispatch status, the customer's name, a color code for the zone in which the call is located, and by default the bottom line shows the problem code, but can be changed to display other predefined fields, which at the time of this tutorial include the work order number or zone name. To change what is displayed on the bottom line, click the toggle button at the top left of the screen and choose which fields you want to display. If you change what is displayed, it will only change it for your user and will continue to show that option until you manually change it to something else or log out of the program. If you leave the dispatch board and go into a different module and then go back into the dispatch board, whatever you chose for the bottom line will continue to be displayed. If you log out of Service Factor and log back in, the bottom line will default back to the problem code. If you hover your mouse over the zone color, a tooltip will display the name of the zone associated with the color. The different dispatch statuses are pending, traveling, working, paused, completed, canceled, or incomplete. The pending status typically means that the visit is open and has not yet been dispatched. The traveling status indicates that a technician is en route to the visit, but typically has not yet begun working. If you charge portal to portal, you can go back to the traveling status after the working status to track the travel time back to the office if applicable. The working status indicates that the technician is working on the visit but has not yet completed the visit. The pause status is used for a temporary work stoppage, such as the technician went to lunch, had to leave the call for a short period of time and will be returning shortly, etc. If a technician is leaving for an extended period of time or overnight, they should use the incomplete status and not the pause status. The completed status indicates that the technician has completed the particular visit and will no longer be able to change to a different status on that particular visit. The canceled status indicates that the visit and the work order has been canceled or voided. Once a work order has been canceled, you will not be able to undo it, so use the status cautiously. If you try to change the status to canceled, you will be required to verify that you truly want to cancel the work order. The incomplete status is used when the technician was unable to complete the visit and will typically need to return at a later date or time to complete the call. When a dispatcher sees an incomplete call on the dispatch board, they should reassign the call to the appropriate date, time, and technician and change the status of the incomplete visit to completed. This will be discussed in more detail on a different dispatch board tutorial. The completed symbol, which is a check mark inside of a circle, can be one of three different colors: yellow, green, or gray, giving you a quick visual as to the status of the invoice associated with the work order. Yellow indicates that the visit itself has been completed, but the invoice has not yet been changed to a completed status. Green indicates that the visit has been completed and the status of the invoice has also been changed to completed, but the invoice has not yet been posted to accounting. Gray indicates that the visit has been completed and the invoice associated with the work order has been completed and posted to accounting. Each card will also display a person symbol indicating if the particular card is assigned to the primary technician or if it is an additional visit associated with the work order, which is referred to as a secondary visit in Service Factor. A single person symbol indicates that the technician to whom the card is assigned is the primary tech, and a two-person symbol indicates that the card is an additional visit, which could be assigned to a secondary technician or even possibly assigned to the primary tech. The X symbol will only appear on a secondary visit and can be used to delete the additional visit from the schedule if it is in a pending status. The primary tech mainly comes into play if using Service Factor Mobile, as well as various reporting functions. If you are using Service Factor Mobile, the primary technician will have access to all mobile functions of the work order and will be responsible for dispatching themselves, adding equipment, adding items, collecting an approval, if applicable, billing the invoice in the field, and collecting payment if applicable. The primary tech will also be able to generate a quote in the field. A secondary tech will be able to view the call information, history, and equipment and dispatch theirself, but they will not be able to enter items, get work approval, generate the invoice, collect payment, or create a quote in Service Factor Mobile. The primary can be changed from one technician to another. For example, if a primary technician goes to a call and is unable to finish the call or needs someone else to go back and complete the call, the primary can be reassigned from the original technician to the secondary technician. The primary tech will also be considered the lead tech on various reports that have a lead tech as a filter option. If the customer has a service agreement assigned to the work order being displayed, there will be a handshake icon next to the customer's name. This indicates that there is a service agreement associated with the work order in case you want to give priority or preferential treatment. Note, if a customer has a service agreement but you change the service agreement field to NA, which stands for not applicable, on the work order, the handshake icon will not be displayed since that work order is no longer associated with the service agreement. If you see a circle with a checkmark symbol, it indicates that an appointment reminder has been sent to the customer. If the reminder was sent automatically from the communication template, the symbol will be green. If the reminder was manually sent, the reminder symbol will be blue. The automatic reminder from the communication template will be sent the day before the scheduled appointment, but the manual reminder can be sent at any time by clicking the dispatch status and choosing the Send Reminder option. If the reminder was successfully sent, you will see a verification message at the top of the screen, as well as the Sent Reminder symbol on the dispatch record. The color surrounding the dispatch card indicates the priority of the work order and is typically assigned based on the problem code. However, the priority can be manually overridden on the work order. It is recommended that you reserve specific colors, such as red, for emergency calls so that you can quickly identify an emergency or high priority call on the dispatch board. The left-hand side of the schedule lists the technicians that have been assigned to the particular dispatch board you are viewing. You can use the Choose Board drop-down to change to a different board that can display different technicians. The technicians that appear on a particular dispatch board are based on the boards that have been assigned to an employee in the employee file. You will notice that next to the technician's name is a circle with their picture or their initials. If you see a green dot in this circle, it indicates that the technician is currently clocked in via Service Factor Mobile. If a technician has been scheduled for on-call for the particular date you are viewing, there will be a phone handset symbol in their name block, indicating that they are scheduled for being on call. If you click on a technician's name, you will be able to view the skill levels the technician possesses and the last two work orders to which the tech has been assigned. If you click the View All link, all open work orders assigned to the selected technician will appear in the bottom of the screen, where you can use the search field to find specific work orders assigned to the tech. The grid at the bottom of the screen will be discussed in more detail later during this tutorial. To close the grid at the bottom of the screen and get back to the map, hover your cursor over the gear icon and choose the blue down arrow. When viewing the schedule, you will notice white and red blocks. The white blocks indicate the available working hours for the particular technician, and the red blocks indicate the time that is outside of their available working hours. The red is just a visual reminder of the tech's availability for the dispatcher, but a call can still be assigned during that time if necessary. If you want to change the available hours for a technician, for example, the tech is planning on taking an afternoon off work, you can click on the tech's name and choose the option View Schedule, which will open the current work schedule for each tech. Find the appropriate date for the technician you want to adjust and click the time block. This will open a window where you can modify the tech's expected start and end times for the selected date, which will update the schedule. When you go back to the dispatch board, you will notice that the new available times are reflected on the board. If there is a time frame during the day that a technician is going to be unavailable, for example, they have a doctor's appointment scheduled at 1 p.m. that should last for 2 hours, you can click and drag from the starting time until the ending time for the specific technician. This will open the unavailable time window and allow you to enter a reason that the tech will be unavailable, which will block out that time frame on the schedule. Unlike the availability schedule, if you block out unavailable time, you will not be able to schedule a call during that time frame. You may have noticed the green line that extends from the top of the schedule to the bottom. This line indicates the current time in relation to the schedule. If you have any calls that are still pending prior to this line, you might consider rescheduling them or contacting the customer to let them know that the technician is running late. At the top of the schedule are various buttons that will allow you to change what you are viewing on the schedule. The top left has the option of viewing the day shift or full shift, which is the default. The full shift option will allow you to scroll the schedule for the entire 24 hours of the day you are viewing. The day shift option will only allow you to scroll between your normal working hours. For example, if you have defined your company's working hours from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., choosing the day shift will only scroll between those hours. As mentioned earlier, the toggle button will allow you to change which field is displayed on the bottom line of the schedule card. In the middle of the top, there is a Today button, a left arrow, a right arrow, and a calendar icon. Clicking the Today button will automatically switch the dispatch board to today's date. Clicking the left arrow will change the dispatch board to one day prior than the current date being displayed, and clicking the right arrow button will change the dispatch board to one day in advance of the current date being displayed. Clicking the calendar icon will allow you to change the dispatch date to whatever date you select. If you have defined the date you are viewing on the dispatch board as a holiday, you will see the word holiday next to the calendar icon. A holiday will not stop you from being able to schedule calls, but it will take into effect the billing type that has been defined in the holiday schedule. On the top right-hand side of the schedule, you have day, week, and 7-day buttons. The day option will display a single day in the schedule section, which is the default view when you go into the dispatch board. The week option will display a weekly view of the schedule based on the current date you have selected on the dispatch board, starting with Monday of the selected week. The 7-day option will show you a 7-day view of the schedule starting with the day of the week you have selected on the dispatch board, which in this case is a Friday. When looking at the week and 7-day views, the text will still be displayed on the left, but the day of the week will be displayed at the top as opposed to the time. The various weekly views will be discussed in detail in a separate tutorial, but I want to point out that clicking the right arrow button on a weekly view will advance the schedule 1 week in the future, and clicking the left arrow button will display the prior week. The Today button will take you back to the current week. The weekly view is a great tool to make sure that all work orders from prior days have been taken care of and/or completed and posted to accounting, which is where the benefit of the different colors associated with the completed check marks become important. Clicking the Day button will take you back to the daily view of the schedule. At the very top of the screen in the header area, you have an option to choose which board you want to view, which can display different technicians in the schedule. For example, you might have a service board that displays your service technicians, a job board that displays your installers, an inspection board that displays your maintenance technicians, and an all board that displays every technician. If you have a technician that can do multiple functions, such as service and maintenance, they can be displayed on more than one board. This feature comes in handy when you work across multiple trades, allowing you to have different boards based on the trade. The Book a Call button is used for adding a new work order directly from the dispatch board and is discussed in more detail in the Adding a Work Order tutorial. The section on the right-hand side of the dispatch board is called the Unassigned Column. The Unassigned Column will list all unassigned work orders by default, but can be changed to show assigned, completed, posted, or canceled work orders by clicking the Status drop-down. Even though you can change the column to show other statuses of work orders besides unassigned, the column on the right will always be referred to as the Unassigned Column. When viewing the Unassigned option, all work orders in an unassigned status will be displayed in the column. When viewing the Assigned option, all work orders that are in an assigned status will be displayed in the column, regardless of what date they are assigned on the dispatch board. When viewing completed, posted, or canceled work orders, only work orders that are in those statuses on the date displayed at the top of the dispatch board will appear in the column. In this example, there is only one work order on the date selected that is in a completed status that has not yet been posted to accounting. You can use the Status drop-down to return to the unassigned listing. The slider to the right of the Unassigned column can be used to scroll the column up or down. The Unassigned column will display 15 work orders at a time, and you can use the pagination buttons at the bottom of the column to advance forward or backwards to see the next 15 work orders. The information shown on the card in the unassigned column is the work order number, the service agreement name and symbol if applicable, the customer's name, the problem code with the estimated time, and the color code for the zone in which the work order is located. Just like the cards on the schedule, if you hover your mouse over the zone color, a tooltip will display the name of the zone. Clicking the information icon will display the work order summary screen, which will be discussed in a different tutorial. When you want to schedule a work order from the unassigned column, verify that you are on the proper date and simply drag and drop the call to the appropriate time for the technician to whom you want it scheduled. When you drag the call from the unassigned column, the details of the call will be fairly transparent, and there will be a light blue bar behind the transparent details representing the estimated amount of time the call should take. The beginning of the blue bar should be dropped at the time that you want to schedule the call. So if you want to schedule the call for 1 p.m., you would drop the front of the blue bar starting at the 1 p.m. time slot for the appropriate technician. This will assign the call and block out the estimated time you expect the call to take on the schedule. At the top of the unassigned column is a holding area. The holding area is used to temporarily hold a card that you want to move to a different date, move to a technician that is not displayed on the portion of the screen being viewed, or when making a copy of a visit to assign to an additional technician or time slot. The holding area is only temporary and should not be used for storing a work order longer than it takes to reassign it. To reassign a call to a different date, simply drag the call to the holding area and select the date to which you want to reassign it. Grab the call from the holding area and start to drag it to the time slot that you want to assign it. If you have defined skill levels in your system, you will notice when dragging a call there will be a vibrating wrench icon next to the technicians that possess the appropriate skill level to work on the call, which can assist you with assigning the correct technician. Continue dragging the call and drop it at the time you would like it scheduled. Helpful tip: you can also use the weekly or 7-day option to move calls from one day to another. For example, if it is a Friday afternoon and you weren't able to get to all of your calls for the day and you want to quickly and easily move them to Monday, choose the 7-day option and simply drag and drop the calls from one day to the next. Please note, when you move the call using the weekly or 7-day option from one date to another, the call will be dropped at the same time as it was scheduled the current date on the new date. If you want to move the call on the same date you are viewing, but the technician is further up or down the screen than is being displayed, instead of using the holding area, you can drag the call near the top or bottom of the schedule, and the schedule will automatically start scrolling up or down. When you get to the proper technician, drop the call at the appropriate time. Typically, by default, the unassigned column will display all work order types, which include regular work orders, which are most commonly referred to as service work orders, inspection work orders, and project management work orders, also known as job work orders. You can filter the type of work orders being displayed in the unassigned column by choosing the WO drop-down at the top of the column and picking the type of work order you want to display. This will filter the unassigned column to only display the type of work order selected. Note, you can assign the default type of work orders being displayed in the unassigned column based on the board selected. For example, if you have a project management board, you can define job work orders to be the default work orders displayed when you choose that board. Also by default, the unassigned column will be sorted by the call taken date and time in reverse order, which means the most recently taken call will appear first and the oldest taken call will be displayed last. It is set up this way so that the dispatcher can quickly see any new work orders that have been added to the system but not yet scheduled. However, you can reverse the sort order by clicking the ZA sort icon to display the oldest call taken date and time first and the call with the newest call taken date and time last. In addition to sorting by the default sort option of the call taken date and time, you can also sort by the promised time, which is the range of time you told the customer you should arrive, the zip code, or the zone. No matter which option you choose to sort by, you will still have the option to sort from highest to lowest or vice versa by clicking the AZ icon. The AZ icon will change between AZ or ZA depending on the sort order being displayed. The search option at the top of the unassigned column is very powerful and will allow you to search the unassigned column by various fields such as the work order number, customer name, problem code, address, etc. You can even search by a portion of any of those fields. For example, if you are working at an address on Rosemount Drive, you could enter Rosemount in the search to see if you have any unassigned calls on that road and try to schedule it as long as you have a technician in the area. The same concept would work for the zip code if you need a larger search criteria. The bottom section of the dispatch board, by default, shows a map but can be toggled to show a list of work orders that appear on the dispatch board. When you're looking at the map view, you see a sliver of the map, but you can hover the gear icon and click the up arrow to expand it to a larger size. If you click on the bottom line of a dispatch card, the map will change to show where the call is located, indicated by a pin. If you want to view a larger map, you can click the View Larger Map hyperlink and a new search tab will open with a larger map and additional features. A very powerful feature of the bottom section is the ability to search for specific work orders. You can switch the map to the search screen by hovering the gear icon in the map and clicking the yellow grid icon. This will open a search screen for all work orders. Please note, the number of rows displayed in the bottom section is dependent on your screen resolution. For tutorial purposes, the screen resolution is set fairly low, so it is only displaying a couple of lines. In the search screen, you have different tabs for different statuses. The first tab is for all work orders, which lists every work order regardless of status. If you are unsure of the status of a work order for which you are searching, you should search under this tab. The next tab is the Assigned tab, and it will list all work orders in an assigned status. An assigned status indicates that the work order has been assigned to at least one technician and the invoice status has not yet been changed to one of the various completed statuses, which are diagnostic only, work completed, maintenance, warranty, or void/canceled. Typically, the work orders in this tab will have an invoice status of none, but invoices with a status of no-show or bill from office will also be listed in the Assigned tab. The Unassigned tab will list all the unassigned work orders and will mirror the calls that appear in the Unassigned column on the right-hand side of the screen. The Completed tab will list all work orders that are in a completed status but have not yet been posted to accounting. A completed status will be a work order that has an invoice status of diagnostic only, work completed, maintenance, or warranty. The Posted tab will list all work orders that have had the invoice posted to accounting, and the Cancel tab, as its name applies, will list all work orders that have a status of canceled. You can use the scroll bar on the right-hand side of the grid to scroll the list up and down. The list will show 15 records by default, but you can use the drop-down at the bottom left of the list to increase the number of records displayed. To view the next group of records, use the Pagination menu at the bottom of the list. By default, the list will be sorted by the work order number in reverse order, but can be sorted by any of the columns. To sort by a different column, simply click the header of the desired column and the list will be resorted based on the header selected. To reverse the order of the selected column, click the header again and the order will reverse. For example, if the column was sorting from highest to lowest, clicking the header again will resort from the lowest to highest. The columns listed are the work order number, the technician to whom the work order is assigned, the customer, the promised time of the appointment, the date and time the work order was created, the problem code and estimated time the work order should take, and the scheduled date of the card on the dispatch board. If you click on the work order number, the system will automatically drill down into the particular work order. If you click on the customer name, the system will automatically drill down into the selected customer. If you're trying to find where a card is located on the dispatch board, you can click on the scheduled date and the schedule will automatically change to that date. Now you can search for the work order under the technician to whom it is assigned. To return back to the current date, click the Today button at the top of the screen and the schedule will return to the current date. A helpful tip when drilling into a record, such as the work order or the customer, is to right-click the link and choose Open Link in a new tab. This will open the record in a new tab of your browser instead of opening it in your current tab and losing your search criteria. When you are finished with the new tab, simply close it and you will still have your original tab with the same search criteria. The search field at the top of the grid will allow you to search by multiple criteria, such as the work order number, customer name, address, scheduled technician, or problem code. Like with most of the searches in the system, you can use any portion of a particular search criteria in order to find a record. For example, if you want to find all work orders located on Rosemount Drive, you can type Rosemount in the search field and all records that match the criteria will be listed. If you want to find a particular work order, you can enter the work order number in the search criteria and all instances of that work order on the dispatch board will be displayed. As you can see in this example, work order number 7274 has been scheduled to multiple technicians. If the work order is scheduled for multiple days and/or technicians, the work order will be listed in the grid as many times for as many days as the technicians have been scheduled. If you click on the scheduled date, the schedule will change to that date so that you can find the particular work order records, which you will notice are scheduled for both Chuck and Drew at 8:30 a.m. This concludes the Service Factor Dispatch Board Overview tutorial.